My name is Sienna Ward, and I'm 36 years old. Sunday dinner always smells like lemon cleaner and duty. Pot roast fogged the windows, while my dad cleared his throat like an anthem was due. Mom folded a napkin again and again, although it was already a perfect square. My sister Mara kept her phone face up, scrolling nothing. Ellie, her 12-year-old, wore a sweatshirt that said Paris, even though her passport is blank. My daughter Lucy, 9, swung her feet under the chair, heels knocking the rungs in a quiet rhythm. I counted forks. I do that when a speech is loading. Mom smiled wide at Mara, then smaller at me. We have news. We booked a cruise in June. Family time. Cool, I said. Lucy will be hyped. Dad lifted a finger like a referee. We couldn't afford 4 tickets, just 2. So, we decided we'll take Ellie. She's older. She'll remember it more. He said it like math. 2 grandkids minus 1. Lucy didn't cry. Her mouth performed something small and brave. Oh, okay, she murmured, and mashed her peas like pressure might turn them into something else. Mara didn't look at us. Makes sense. Ellie's at a formative age, she said, trying the word on like a new jacket. Plus, Lucy gets anxious in crowds. Boats are crowded. Mom put a hand over mine as if I might make a scene. It's not personal, Sienna. We just couldn't afford 2 kids. We'll do something little with Lucy later. Mini golf. She said mini golf like a medical plan. Dad added, We're not made of money, sweetheart. I heard the fridge hum. I heard Lucy swallow. I heard the hurt land and go quiet, the way a nail stops singing when it's all the way in. Got it, I said. My voice came out level, measured. I spooned gravy onto Lucy's potatoes and asked if she wanted more carrots. She nodded without looking up. We ate. We smiled. The room tilted, and everyone pretended it didn't. On the drive home, Lucy drew circles in the fog on her window. Do you think Grandma forgot I like boats too? She asked. I think Grandma forgot how feelings work, I said. A small laugh escaped her, then nothing. I did job math to keep from breaking. Lumber prices, overtime rates, as if I could frame a wall around Lucy and keep the wind out. People think blow-ups are singular. They're piles. Mine started when I was 17 and learned you can carry debts you never made. In our family, special was a current that pushed every bill toward me. I'm the fixer. I install what breaks and apologize while doing it. I framed their basement at cost. Replaced the water heater on a Sunday when the old one died mid-cycle. Bought them a new TV because Dad knew I had the discount hookups. Set up a ring system after he declared the neighborhood sketchy. Ran their Costco hauls on my card because it's easier. Mounted the replacement TV because you're already here. The Venmo hearts arrived like confetti. $50 once, a thank you text twice. Mostly, it was silence shaped like expectation. I kept receipts because numbers quiet gaslighting. Over 3 years, TV, $879. Water heater plus valves, $1,142. Holiday electrician after Dad's space heater fused the breaker, $445. Deck materials on my account for the discount, $2,600. Laptop for Ellie's design class, $1,119. Costco runs, we'll split later, $1,940. Miscellaneous, the sort of leak you can't stop with a wrench. Lucy notices what rooms do to me. She sits on the steps when I load my toolbox. Is this a work job or a grandma job? She asks. Grandma job, I say. Oh, she already knows what O means. A month before the cruise declaration, I built them a pergola in cedar, 2 weekends, $1,300 in materials. Dad pressed an envelope into my hand. For your time. $300. He squeezed my shoulder like I'd won a prize. I put the envelope in a drawer at home and stared at it, willing it to hatch into respect. Then came the sentence, we couldn't afford 2 kids. Said while mine sat at the table, feet swinging, trying not to be a budget problem. That night I tucked Lucy into bed and stared at the ceiling like it was a chalkboard with an answer I'd missed. The answer came slow and simple. I opened my notes app and typed, This isn't revenge. This is a boundary. If they choose one grandchild, I choose mine. If they call money love, I take my money and my love home. The week unfurled in proof. Mom sent 3 texts about excursions. Parasailing, dolphin swims. Ellie deserves this. Mara posted a countdown. Dad forwarded a link to composite decking and wrote, "Let's plan our spring project while we're on vacation." Lucy asked bedtime questions she pretended were casual. Do boats have quiet rooms? Does looking at the sky help if you're scared? If I save allowance, can I buy my own ticket? I answered what I could. Yes, it's a lot of dog walking. I started an inventory list, not to be cruel, but because I understand life through columns. Everything in my parents' house that my card had birthed. TV, washer, dryer, grill, ring, deck boards, still stacked in the garage. The question beneath the list was plainer than anger. Why do my things live in a house where my kid is optional? 3 nights later, Mom called, with one more favor tucked in her mouth like a mint. Can you feed the cat and water the plants while we're gone? The sump pump's making a sound. We'll leave you a key. Like I didn't already have one. Sure, I said. I'll take care of it. And I meant it. I was going to take care of it, just not the way they imagined. Adrian texted, "How bad?" I typed, "Bad enough to be clear. 3 dots. I'm here. Say the word." "Stand by," I wrote. "Let me lead." Saturday came, matching shirts in March. Like vacation could bend Michigan into summer. Ellie squealed when the Uber pulled up. "Bye," she sang to Lucy, like Lucy was a neighbor child, not her cousin. Lucy waved, put her hand down, then lifted it again, practicing the right amount of polite. When the car turned the corner, she asked, "Do we feed the cat now?" "Yes," I said. My voice stayed steady because hers did. The house they left behind was quiet in the fake way, soundless because it had taken its noise with it. The cat tolerated us, then pressed into Lucy's palm like she'd been waiting for the correct child. The sump pump was fine. Old, like so many things there, except for the things I'd replaced. I stood in the living room and looked at the TV I'd bought. In the laundry room, the washer and dryer I'd ordered the day the old ones died. In the garage, the deck boards stacked like a promise. The pergola out back, cemented, wasn't moving. It wasn't about making them suffer. It was about stopping the bleed. I opened my list. Then I opened a blank page and wrote, "Closure" at the top. "Mom," Lucy called, "the cat likes me." "I like you too," I said, and meant it in all the ways they hadn't. The plan settled into place like a level finding true. The key was under the ceramic frog like always, an inside joke that had aged into camouflage. I let us in, set Lucy's backpack by the door, and did the rounds the way I do, site walkthroughs. Eyes on seams and corners. Pantry, shelves sagging under the Costco bulk I'd hauled last month. Laundry, my washer dryer humming a memory under the lint trap. Water heater I'd installed thrummed like a quiet animal in the closet. In the living room, the TV flickered a blue standby glow at its own blank reflection. Everywhere I looked, pieces of my budget holding up their lives. I took a breath that shook more than I wanted Lucy to hear and texted one word to Adrian. "Go." He replied with a thumbs up and nothing else, like a man practicing the art of not rescuing a woman who doesn't need rescue. "Okay," I told Lucy, handing her a clipboard. "We're going to do a project. We take only what's ours. We leave what isn't. We do it carefully." She nodded solemnly, the way kids do when asked to carry truth. "I'll check the boxes," she said, already printing neat check marks next to TV, washer, dryer, grill, ring, deck boards, garage. I called Nate, who shows up on my job sites with a back that never complains and a laugh that sells lunch breaks. "You busy?" "For you? Never. What's the job?" "Moving." "Whose?" "Mine," I said, and also not mine. "I'm in," he said. 15 minutes. We started with the TV. I powered it down like I was apologizing, removed the mount bolts, set them in a labeled Ziploc, wrapped the screen in the old moving blanket Dad says he bought. I bought it on a rainy Home Depot run 2 summers ago. The Ring doorbell came next. I unscrewed it, capped the wires, patched the hole because I don't leave scars when I can help it. In the kitchen, I opened the junk drawer and, without looking for it, found the envelope Dad had pressed into my hand after the pergola. $300 for my time. It sat under rubber bands and a stale mint, like even gratitude had an expiration date. I placed the envelope on the counter face up. Nate backed his truck to the garage like we were stealing time, not appliances. We slid the washer and dryer onto dollies, strapped them like they were fragile, because respect is how things arrive safely and how people do, too. The grill rolled out easier than it rolled in the day I assembled it, because this time I wasn't trying to pretend the gift came from them. Lucy checked each item off like a foreman. TV, check. Washer, check. Dryer, check. She squinted at deck boards and looked up at me. Are these okay to take? They were on my contractor account, I said. Paid fully by me. They were a promise I shouldn't have kept. Oh, she bit her lip, then wrote, Promise returned, next to the line. I swallowed hard and nodded, like the air wasn't wobbling. We left the pergola. Cement doesn't care about closure. And we left their couch, their table, their framed cruise advertisements thumbtacked to the fridge like vision boards. I took a photo of each removed item's serial number, printed receipts from my email, and placed them in a tidy stack beneath a note I wrote in black pen, steady letters. Mom, Dad, you said you couldn't afford 2 kids, so you chose Ellie. I heard you. I won't argue while you're gone. I'll act like my kid matters. The items I bought, TV, washer, dryer, grill, ring cam, deck boards, are now at my house. Receipts attached. I've returned the $300 pergola payment. It wasn't enough, and we both knew it. Going forward, I don't provide unpaid labor or loans. If you need help, I can recommend 3 contractors at market rates. If you want a relationship, the price is respect. This isn't revenge. This is closure and a boundary. Sienna P.S. Cat food bottom shelf. Sump pump sounds normal. I shut off the hose bib. I read it twice. It wasn't mean. It was level. While Nate tied down the last strap, Lucy crouched to coax the cat into a cuddle. He likes me, she said. She meant the house never did, but something living here did. I kissed the top of her head. He has excellent taste. We locked up. I slid the key back under the ceramic frog and felt a strange click inside, like a tumbler turning. As we drove, the truck bed rattled with newly reclaimed ownership. My garage looked like a small appliance store when we unloaded, and also like a spine I'd finally straightened. Adrian arrived with coffee and didn't try to carry anything I didn't hand him. He just asked where I wanted the washer and followed my instructions without performing competence at me. Movie night on the floor? Lucy asked later, eyes bright. On our TV, I said, laying out blankets. Absolutely. We ate popcorn that tasted like truce and watched an animated film too loud and too close, like renters in our own lives, which we were not anymore. She fell asleep in a half somersault, one sock off. I carried her to bed, then sat in the quiet and waited for my phone to shake itself awake with sunset selfies and righteous fury. It didn't. They were at sea. Silence had the heavy quality of water. In the morning, I installed a new doorbell camera at my place because boundaries live best behind eyes. I labeled breakers in the panel, the things people never notice until the dark. I opened a new sub-savings folder on my banking app and named it Lucy's First Trip. I moved $50 into it and felt a current shift. Money, yes, but also a tide back to our shore. At lunch, Lucy perched on a stool and watched me box up the old toaster. Will Grandma be mad? She asked. Probably, I said. I set the toaster aside for donation. Mad is easier than sorry. Are you mad? No, I said truthfully. I'm finished. We fed the cat one last time, wiped down the counters like polite ghosts, and left their house the way we found it, except lighter by the weight of what I carried out and the weight I refused to carry anymore. On the way home, my phone buzzed with 3 messages in a row from Kara, Adrian's ex. Because, of course, she still followed everyone in my family like it was a series. OMG saw Mara's countdown. So exciting. Then, Sienna, you going too? Then, when I didn't answer, a like on one of Mara's vacation boomerangs. I put my phone face down. Some audiences don't deserve a show. That night, I wrote an email because phones turn people into actors and emails make them read. Subject, items purchased by me, plus going forward. Bulleted list, TV, washer, dryer, grill, ring, deck boards. Dates, costs, attached receipts. Paragraph. Over 36 months, I spent $7,706 on items in your home. I am not asking for reimbursement. I have relocated my purchases to my house. I am unavailable for unpaid labor or loans. If you need a contractor, I will gladly refer 3. Closing. Sundays at the park are open if you want to see us. No projects discussed. I scheduled it to send the morning their ship docked. Then I shut my laptop and stood at the window, lights off, city humming. Closure didn't look like a slammed door. It looked like labeled boxes, clean screws in plastic bags, a clipboard in a 9-year-old's hands, $50 tucked into a future, and a mother who finally believed her own signature. In the space where their noise used to live, the quiet grew muscle. The return would be loud. That could belong to tomorrow. Tonight belonged to us. They came back 10 days later, suntanned and smiling like people who'd vacationed from consequence. My phone started buzzing before sunrise. Mom, then Dad, then Mara. Notifications stacked like hailstones. First, where's the TV? Then, what the hell, Sienna? Finally, Mara's dramatic flourish. Ellie's crying. You robbed Mom and Dad while they were on a cruise? I didn't respond. I poured Lucy a mug of cocoa, flipped pancakes, and made a blueberry smile in the middle just because I could. At 9:12, Dad called again. I answered. You took our stuff. No, hello, I said. And no, I took my stuff. You're a thief. I am an owner. There's a difference. You embarrassed us, he barked. Your mother cried all night. You embarrassed me when you told my daughter she was the one you couldn't afford, I said, calm but cutting. And you didn't cry then. Silence stretched like a tight wire. Then he tried a new door. We needed those things, Sienna. So did we. We just didn't tell a 9-year-old she was too expensive for a memory. He exhaled so hard the phone crackled. Bring them back. No, I said simply. We're done playing rich with my wallet. Click. The group chat came alive with panic. Mom. This is cruel. We were going to surprise Lucy with a beach day next month. Mara. You took a washer, Sienna. Who does that? Me. The person who bought it. Minutes later, Mara called. You took their Ring camera? Are you insane? That neighborhood's sketchy. I left the base, I said. You can buy a new camera for $99. Why are you being like this? She demanded. Because of a cruise. You're mad about a cruise? I'm not mad about a cruise. I'm clear about a pattern. What pattern? The one where I build your deck, fix your door, and pay for your laptop while my kid gets told she's the extra. Mara scoffed. You love to count. Yes, I said, because counting keeps people honest. She hung up. By afternoon, I had 17 missed calls and 2 voicemails that alternated between guilt and fury. Then, at 6 p.m., the doorbell rang, the new one I'd installed myself. Through the camera feed, Mom stood on the porch, hands on hips, looking like she'd come to declare zoning violations. I opened the door before she could knock. You took it, she said, scanning past me for the TV. Yes. You always do this, she whispered. You make me feel like a bad mother. I didn't make you say you couldn't afford 2 grandchildren. She flinched. It was money, Sienna. We didn't have enough money. You had enough for matching shirts and parasailing. Her eyes flashed. We wanted to do something special for Ellie. She's older. Then say that, I said. Say you picked her. Don't hide it behind math while standing in front of a TV I paid for. Her face softened for 1 second, then hardened. Your father's furious. You can forget about the house. He says you won't get a dime. I almost laughed. Then leave it to whoever you can afford. Don't be cruel. I'm being literal. She looked past me again and froze when she saw Lucy in the hallway, holding the cat carrier like a shield. Hi, sweetie, Mom said, voice wobbling. Hi, Grandma, Lucy replied, polite and small. Mom's eyes darted back to mine. We'll talk later. She turned, heels clicking down the porch steps, and didn't look back. The next 48 hours were a hurricane of guilt grenades. 16 calls, 32 texts, 2 emails from Dad that read like angry Yelp reviews. Unprofessional daughter, lacks empathy. 1 message from Mara, a photo of Ellie crying, captioned, Are you happy now? I didn't reply. I refused to answer to weaponized tears. Instead, I slid the $300 envelope, the payment for the pergola, under their front door with an index card. This was never enough. Keep it. Not a dig, just true. S. Then I went back to work, built a staircase that fit the first time, came home, and helped Lucy with her spelling list. Words of the week: boundary, respect, closure. She aced them. That night, as I adjusted the new Ring settings, Adrian came over. He watched me without interrupting. You okay? He asked. I'm steady, I said. He nodded. You sound finished. I am. He smiled like someone who knew better than to call that strength cold. Lucy poked her head out from her room. Can we go to the park tomorrow? Sure, I said. Just us. She grinned. Grandma used to come too. I know, I said, but sometimes people take themselves off the invite list. The next morning, my phone buzzed one last time. Dad again. So we're done then? We're not done, I said. We're just different. He left it on red. That was progress. Later that week, Mara texted, "If you bring back the washer, I'll pay you half." I replied, "It's installed here." She said, "Fine. I'll just use the laundromat like a peasant." 10 minutes later, "What's a good budget washer brand?" I sent 2 links. She bought one. Then, "Thanks." I screenshotted it, not to gloat, just to remind myself she was capable once she stopped expecting me to carry her convenience. By Friday, Mom mailed a card. "Family first," it said, in gold cursive. Inside was a photo from the cruise. Smiling faces, ocean backdrop, all of them matching in mint green. I placed it in a drawer beside the receipts and closed it gently, the way you shut a door on a draft. For the first time, their noise couldn't reach me. That night, I checked the savings account again. Lucy's first trip, $200. I smiled. Real math. My math. The storm had passed. The rebuild was next. 3 weeks later, everything that had been loud, texts, calls, online whispers, finally collapsed into stillness. The kind that hums instead of hurts. The money I used to spend patching their emergencies now had a direction. Every Friday, I moved $50 into 2 folders. Lucy's first trip and home repairs. Real repairs. Ours. The house started to sound different. The washer hummed in our hallway now. Steady, low, dependable. The TV filled the living room with movie laughter instead of arguments. And in the corner, the cat Mom couldn't be bothered to name followed Lucy everywhere, sleeping under her homework desk like he'd been waiting for this quiet too. Closure didn't arrive with a grand apology. It came through 100 small, boring good choices in a row. Sunday morning, Lucy and I ate pancakes the size of plates, and she said between bites, "Grandma used to make these." "Then she taught me something useful," I said lightly, and Lucy smiled, syrup on her chin. Later, we went to the park. Adrian met us there with coffees, not advice. He watched Lucy build a fort out of sticks and whispered, "You did it, you know. You built something that doesn't wobble." I looked at him. "You mean her?" He nodded. "Both of you." That night, as we packed up from the park, my phone buzzed. A message from Mom. "Dinner sometime? Just family. No drama." I typed and deleted a dozen replies. Finally, I sent, "Sundays at the park are open. No projects discussed." No response. Just the little scene mark. That was fine. Silence was an answer, too. The next weekend, we drove to the lake, the same one where Lucy used to chase fireflies. She skipped stones until the sun slipped into gold. "5 skips!" she shouted. 6, I corrected softly, because the last one was small but real. She grinned. "Then I win." "You always did." On the drive home, she fell asleep in the back seat, clutching 2 new rocks. When I carried her to bed, I saw she'd lined all her old ones on the windowsill, each with a tiny name scrawled underneath. I didn't flip them over. Some things are hers alone. Later that week, I ran into Mara at the hardware store. She looked tired, but human. "Hey," she said, trying for casual. "Deck's getting redone. You were right. Quotes are wild." "Get it in writing," I said. She smirked faintly. "I did." Then quieter. "Ellie misses Lucy." "She can call anytime," I said, "as long as no one tells her who's affordable." Mara's throat worked. "Fair." She turned away before her eyes betrayed her. At church that Sunday, a woman from town cornered me near the coffee urn. "I heard about what you did," she said, voice low and eager. "You took back your parents' washer, right?" "Yes." She blinked. "That's bold." "No," I said evenly. "That's ownership." She didn't know what to say to that. She just walked off, clutching her cup like it might explain me. That night, I came home to find a new card in the mailbox. Mom again. No letter this time, just a photo of the cruise ship. Ocean, blue sky. The caption scrawled on the back. "Wish you were here." I laughed softly, not unkindly. "I was never supposed to be," I murmured, and dropped it into the drawer with the others. In the weeks that followed, things settled into a rhythm. Dad grumbled once by text, "You think you're better than us?" I replied, "No, just separate." He left it on red. Progress. Adrian and I took Lucy to the diner on Fridays. Cheap coffee, pancakes that barely fit the plates. The waitress called us the smiling table, which felt like a miracle after everything that came before. Sometimes I still catch myself checking my phone, expecting a guilt text or a new demand. Nothing comes. The quiet has muscle now. It stretches, breathes, fills every corner of our little house. One night, Lucy padded into the living room with 2 rocks cupped in her hands. "This one's heavy but small," she said. "This one's big but light." She placed them on the table like words. I looked at her and felt the entire story folding neatly in half. "Exactly," I said. She smiled, satisfied. "Can we go to the lake again this summer?" "Yes," I said. "With or without anyone?" "Just us," I said. "We're rich in stars, remember?" She nodded, whispering the words back like a promise. Rich in stars. That night, when she was asleep, I stood by the window and looked out at our porch. Ours, not borrowed, not bargained for. The Ring camera's tiny light blinked, steady and quiet. The world finally made sense. If you need the moral written plain, I'm not a wallet with a wrench attached. I'm a mother. If you tell my child she doesn't fit, you lose access to my time, my money, my peace. This isn't about revenge. It's about closure. And closure looks like this. A humming washer in a hallway that's ours. A 9-year-old asleep under her own roof. A woman who built a boundary and watched it hold.